The headline is out there that the IRS is almost up to 5 times more likely to audit Black taxpayers. Civil rights activists are calling this discriminatory and, racist. What else is new? And basically just saying it's unfair. When has America been fair to Black people, Black taxpayers, Black citizens? This is nothing new, not surprised, not shocked. I think this news did come after reports of Beyonce owing taxes. I'm not sure if that's true. Again, the internet lies, but I think that it is, again, just another reason why we need to take a better look at being in a place that treats us better, where we feel protected, where we feel safe, and where ultimately we can thrive. And so in this video, I want to talk about this article a little bit, but the advantages, the tax advantages of living abroad. I am not a tax professional. I am not a certified licensed tax expert. Please continue to do your research and consult with a tax expert that can give you the insight to what this looks like. But I will say that there are many tax advantages, especially when establishing a business abroad, that you can receive as an American citizen. And I want to share that with you in this video. I am Ashley on this channel, Ashley in Africa. I talk about my experience living and doing business here on the continent of Africa. I live currently in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I have a business here. I have a business here in Johannesburg and also one in Tanzania. And my mission, my goal is to impact the lives of 100 million Africans through economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, and community. And so if that sounds interesting to you, please be sure to like this video and share it with someone else who finds value in it. So this new study came out by Stanford University, which analyzed the data from IRS from about 2014 to 2018. And it showed that things like biased IRS workers, a biased algorithm, and the fact that Black people, Black taxpayers in America are more likely to file for specific tax benefits is the reason why they are almost five times more likely to be audited. I've been audited and owed money, paid it off, got refunds. But it's so interesting, right? Because I think in America, as a Black American, people feel like if you access a certain amount of income or a certain financial status, that you're exempt from racism. And clearly, this is not true. This is not the only example of it, right? But this is clearly not true. The IRS, a government agency, is having to share publicly, yes, that they are biased, they are racially discriminatory to Black Americans once again. And the practices that are placed on Black Americans, specifically Black taxpayers, are unfair. It's not rocket science. So not only does this get in my bag, but Black excellence not going to protect you from racism, it's actually going to accelerate your likelihood of being audited. Who in the comments, if you are a Black taxpayer, has been audited? Black business owner, seen revenues of over 6-7 figures, been audited? A lot of us. And so, it's really interesting. It's, these earned income tax credits, which all of us get excited about, if you're in a certain tax bracket, when you get your refund. They found that Black taxpayers were the focus of 43% of the earned income tax credit audits, even though they only get 21% of those claims. So even though only 21% of Black folks are getting a return, a tax return, they're going to be 43% more likely to be audited. Yeah. So they're saying, again, these outdated biased algorithms for selected taxpayers and the fact that Black taxpayers are more likely to file for these things. Racism is clear. I want to talk about, the advantages of living abroad and what that looks like, because I do pay taxes in the US, but What I don't pay are those daily taxes on food, gas, electricity. You know, we're double taxed. We get our tax money taken out of our paychecks, or if you're a business, you've got to pay that 30%, and you're paying taxes every day on basic items that you consume. I don't pay those anymore, right? I'm in another country where essentially every dollar that I spend on tax, I am refunded that as long as I am not a South African citizen. I also am able to get certain tax holidays as a business. I am exempt from paying taxes for a specific period of time. Both countries are different in doing business because I am coming here to establish a business, ultimately to drive economic development, potentially to create jobs, which I have done already. And because of that, the government feels that I should not be taxed on all of the income that I make while I am residing in their country. So here's a few kind of tax laws. Again, I am not a tax professional, so please do your additional research, but I want to share some of the various tax benefits that you can get depending on your specific circumstance, that allow you to live, you know, a freer, comfortable life abroad. So this foreign earned income exclusion, if you meet certain requirements, the US IRS offers this FEIE, allowing US citizens or residents living abroad to exclude a portion of their foreign earned income from US federal tax. So basically, if I'm living abroad and I'm working in a certain country, I'm allowed to exclude a certain amount of that income from my US taxes. So countries like Dubai, where it's zero tax, people get their entire paychecks, they're not taxed. That is an incentive of living in that country. Another thing is, you know, foreign tax credits. So if you pay taxes to both your home country and the country of residence, you may be eligible for foreign tax credits. So what that means is, you know, for example, when I exit this country and I submit kind of this audited list of receipts on taxes, they will go through it and reimburse me in the form of a card, right? Now this is only for specific entry visas or permits, right? Not all, but essentially you are reimbursed the tax that you've paid while spending time in that country. Estate and inheritance tax. So certain countries abroad have better estate and inheritance tax laws. In America, it's literally 50% if you have not created an estate plan. So if someone passes away, and we've heard this with huge celebrities that did not have an adequate estate plan, that took the money from their actual person and placed it in a trust or designated it to a specific person, Uncle Sam took 50% of that income, and the rest was then had to be debated in court. I mean, Black people, we suffer from this the most. We lack that financial awareness to create these type of structures so that way the government doesn't get 50% of our money. Well, countries abroad have, you know, better laws. They don't have the same laws as the US where they automatically get 50% if there is no wills. Some countries don't have that at all. You know, so again, it's important to note that tax laws are intricate and subject to change. So it's advisable that you consult with a qualified tax advisor. You know, in terms of having a business, which is the things that we teach in the Afrika Investors Academy, I advocate for entrepreneurship. It is the only way to economic independence and structuring a company so that you can legally keep the most of the money that you're creating, to be generous, to donate to charities, to hire people, is really, really, you know, for me, a part of my business philosophy, but also being in a place where I can legally keep more of my money, right? So from a business perspective, there are lower tax rates, lower corporate tax rates abroad. Not everywhere out of the US, but in so many countries, right? For example, I believe that, you know, depending on the industry, I don't even want to say it because it's not 1,000% true. And again, like I said, tax laws are changing, but tax holidays are a very relevant thing for people starting offshore businesses, right? That's what we've heard it called, offshore businesses, meaning out of the US. These legal businesses that are essentially you're saying, hey, you come here, you get involved in a specific industry that is going to solve problems in our country, we'll give you a 10-year tax holiday. You know, the countries on the continent of Africa are all very different. Industries they vary. Please understand that this is, you know, not likely going to happen if you're coming and you're creating, let's just say, a restaurant or a barber shop or a, you know, or a car wash, right? Because these don't tend to employ a lot of people. They don't tend to really drive economic development. Things like hospital creation, schools, you know, different investment opportunities, real estate, those type of things. And, you know, again, I will say this, I have a friend who had a restaurant in Tanzania, and I'll say that he got some really amazing tax benefits because of the amount of employees that he did hire. So I retract. Do research on the specific business that you want to create to understand the tax benefits that will exist for you. We do help people one-on-one with this service and our executive investor group through the Afrika Investors Academy. But if this is something that you'd be interested in, you know, we'd love to work with you, and you can connect with us via the link below. You know, the opportunity that you have to basically keep more of your money are these incentives and exemptions, right? That's what they call like the tax holiday. So for example, doing business in Zanzibar, right? For our Afrika Investors Academy Summit in Zanzibar, we're gonna talk all about the tax incentives and advantages of investing in property, investing in a business, creating a business, and what that looks like from a tax, income, and residence incentive space, right? You know, just taking advantage of these things reduces your tax burden, gets you to live a life of ease, gets you to live, you know, with privilege and acceptance, something that you have no idea about if you're a Black person living in America, even if you're wealthy, right? Which wealthy is, you know, hearsay, because people that do have an exorbitant amount of wealth are typically first generation in the US as Black Americans, right? As international Africans. So, you know, there is just so many benefits. Avoiding the double taxation, right? The double taxation that I'm talking about in the US, where you're taxed on that money and then you have to pay taxes on everything else. Even on real estate purchases. Like, I did the luxury real estate tour and there were no taxes by purchasing that new construction because of some incentives that the developer got that he then is passing on to the buyer. That is unheard of. No one would ever do that in America. They want all the money, right? And real estate developers don't even pay tax in the US. So it's just really interesting. Again, it's important to know that there are tax advantages of having a business abroad, but depending on your business, depending on the country, those tax advantages differ. So in our executive investors group, we go over all of these things in detail. We connect you with a qualified and vetted tax expert, corporate attorney, even bankers that can support you and your investment needs and goals here on the continent of Africa. And we'd love to work with you. So if that's you and you have an interest in joining our exclusive membership community of executive investors, please check out the link below. Schedule some time to see if working with me would, you know, be good for you and good for your overall investment and business goals. Until the next video, I'll see you soon.